Peace and blessings. I hope everyone is having a good evening to the best of our abilities. I know it's hard to enjoy oneself when you know what's going on in Palestine. I pray for the Palestinian people that are involved in the conflict. I pray for their suffering. I pray for the Israeli people that are caught up in this terrible conflict. It is what it is. Let's not hold back the truth. I pray for the people in the Congo, in Uganda, in Sudan, in Ethiopia. I pray for people in the streets of America. I pray peace for us. Don't ever get offended by my understanding of how things work. And if you do, you'll be okay. The reality is this, for the American people, we still live in a country that grants us the freedom of speech. Now, we're about to get into this video from Al Jazeera, Fair Use, where the I'm sorry, I said young lady. Let me rephrase that. She looks good I believe she's 82, 83 years old. But I'm sorry this happened to her, if this really happened to her. I have my own opinions, but before we get any further, I'll get into the story and then let you guys make your mind up of what you decide. Let's go with it, okay?
Well, one of the Israeli captives who's been released by the armed wing of Hamas on Monday evening has been telling her story. Yocheved Lifshitz is one of two elderly women released for what Hamas says were humanitarian reasons. Their husbands, though, remain behind, detained in Gaza. Their release followed mediation efforts from Qatar and Egypt. Well, let's speak to Alan Fisher. He joins us now from occupied East Jerusalem. Alan, one of those captives, as we've been saying, has been speaking out about the trauma of her capture and also what it was like in detention. How is all that being received?
Yocheved Lifshitz gave a fairly graphic description of her more than 2 weeks after being captured by Hamas. It was a Saturday morning, the 7th of October. She was near her home, very close to the Gaza border, when she suddenly saw men coming across through a hole in the fence, a fence that she essentially said wasn't worth the millions of dollars that had been spent on it. Suddenly, she was bundled onto the back of a motorbike and was heading to Gaza. And very graphically, she explained her journey there.
I went through hell, something I didn't think human beings would do to one another. I have never gone through anything like it in my life. They arrived at the kibbutz and kidnapped us, taking us to surrounding fields. The young men beat me and hurt me, and they took my watch and jewelry. They were riding motorbikes and took us to the entrance of a tunnel. When they arrived, they told us that they believed in the Quran and wouldn't do anything bad to us. We walked through the tunnels and reached a large hall where about 20 people were gathered. Then they separated us and took one group to another room. There was a doctor with us, another doctor who came every 3 days, and a nurse who examined us and gave us the same medicines that we get at home. We were accompanied by a young man on a bike whose hands and legs were injured and who deserved mercy. They provided us with everything we needed and were afraid of diseases spreading. They were also very friendly and shared their food with us.
Alan, we understand that Netanyahu today has also met with the French President, Emmanuel Macron. How's that visit being seen?
We're going to go and stop it right there. What are your thoughts on this? For me, let's unpack this. For me, there's so many things that are going on that I'm having a hard time believing, right? That I think there's a bigger agenda. Let's break it down before we get into the releasing of the hostages, right? Anybody that's been to Palestine or traveled or done the research understands that most Palestinian people are controlled about how they enter into Israel and back and forth into their country. Their water is controlled by Israel. They're in concentration camps, right? This attack, I have my suspicions, like I did on 9/11, September 11th, right? September 11th, if anybody hears about it from 100 years from now, it'll be like 19 crazy Arabs got on a plane, took some box cutters out, and before they did that, the night before, they were partying, being at strip clubs, but yes, they want to go serve a law. They want to be great martyrs. They get onto a plane. All that came out to be hogwash. We know that 9/11 was made up. We know it's an inside job. Did people die? Yes. If you believe that a plane will knock into a building and crumble a building, and then at the bottom you'll find a paper passport of one of the terrorists, then there's nothing I can say to you. Do your own research. 9/11 was hogwash. I believe this is very similar. What I think about this before I go into the hostage situation, I think that there's a bigger calling. I think with the whole BRICS situation, Brazil, Russia, India, China, all these countries going to gold, moving away from the American dollar, I think Israel and America and the European Union is terrified. So there has to be the beating of the drum of war. That's always been, since I was a child, that's all America has done, is went to war. I feel sorry, I feel bad what we've done to the Arab nations. I cried as a child knowing what we did to people. And I tell you, as a child, we were always taught that the Russians were coming to get us. I used to have dreams as a child, nightmares that we were going to war to Russia. Now speed up, and here we are in 2023, almost 2024, and that might be a reality. I wish America and Israel would stop being so brutal. Stop being so brutal. For those of us know war sells. For those of us that love people, we can't understand how land, how money, how control, how wicked these people are that they love to do this. That this is all they know is war. Now, let's get into this. It doesn't seem right? One breath, the young lady, well, the elderly lady, we respect her, she says that they beat her. But then they brought her there and they treated her good. They said they wouldn't hurt her. They were kind to her. They had doctors. They shared the food. This is not the story that people want to hear. They got to have the boogeyman. What are your thoughts? I welcome debates, discussion, dialogue. Let's keep it respectful. Of course, YouTube kind of censors that. I'm not offended by people's views. Whatever your views are, your understanding. Please leave comments, like and subscribe. Even if you don't agree with me, please share. I will be doing more of these in the next few weeks, but I do pray peace. I pray this doesn't lead us into a World War III. I pray this doesn't lead us into a World War III. All right? Y'all have a blessed evening. Like and subscribe. But I also wanted to say something before I forget. These people that released her, they're not worried for their own safety. They're going against one of the most powerful military, or most powerful country in the world, and they're going to walk over and hand these hostages over. They might be actors. You guys think I'm crazy. I had my hero Magic Johnson come out and tell people to get the jab, to get the shot. We've been lied and controlled. We're like, they just want to keep us, paying attention to whatever they want us to watch. Fear mongering, right? Listen, y'all, pray to your Creator. Be kind. Understand that death is waiting for all of us. As scary as it is, as unknown as it is to us, whether you're a Christian, Muslim, Jew, atheist, Hindu, whatever, Buddhist, we all have the unknown. We have our faith, but we have the unknown. Be kind to each other. Be kind. God bless you. Stay tuned. And in about a week or two, we get enough traction on this, we'll start doing live shows. God bless.